Hi there, I'm Jill Chivers from shopyourwardrobe.com.
And I'm Imogen Lamport from Inside Out Style blog.
And we have been asked a question about finding and developing your unique style. And we think this is an issue that is relevant to a lot of women as our lives change, as the workplace becomes more casual, as we retire and move into different phases of our life, thinking about our style and how it can grow with us. And that was probably the first point that we were really thinking about, is that it is a dynamic process. It's not a set and forget, I found my style, done. It's a moving feast.
Yes, because when you see the set and forgets 20 years later, they look really dated and stuck.
Yeah.
And that's something I've really noticed, is you kind of felt that was a great style, I found my style, and then I've never moved on.
Yeah.
And fashion is something that constantly changes, even though it may cycle through cycles of, we're currently doing a 70s thing and then an 80s thing and then a 90s thing, or whatever it might be, or a 40s.
Yeah.
But it still continually evolves in
Yeah.
itself. And so even if you have a unique style, it's still something that's going to change, because our lives change, we are not static beings. As my mother always said, change is the one constant you can expect.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So I think it's really important that you might find things you go, I really like this element, it works for me. Like, I'll go, I like big necklaces, but I may wear short ones, and then I'll go to long ones, and then I might layer some, and then I might go to more delicate pieces put together in a different way. The large necklace may be part of my unique style, but it's not always the same one. It's not like I'm wearing a replica or a copy of the same thing over and over and over, never changing.
Yeah. And we were talking about, if we were to go back, get in our time machine, which is at the shop at the moment, if we were to get into it and go back 5 years, would your style look the same? And the answer is obviously no, it wouldn't, but it's not dramatically different. It's not a wholesale shift. And there are pieces in your wardrobe, you were saying, that have been there for many years, some decades, but you wouldn't necessarily know it. You wear them differently, and there is a gentle shifting. It's not I'm slowly getting rid of everything and replacing everything, but there is a morphing. We came up with that word that seemed to encapsulate this process. There's a morphing from one phase and one part of your life to the next.
Yes, because we've got to think about this overall silhouette in fashion trends,
Yeah.
So we may have garments in our wardrobe, but it's like, then how can I use it with this new trend? Now, some of the things just go because they're too fad-based, and fads are the really fast-moving trends. They tend to suit very few in the population, which is why they're a fad. They don't last because most people put them on and don't look great in them. But then the trends can last 2, 5, 7 years.
Right.
And so what it is we're looking going, okay, well, we've had like this oversized trend has been around where everything's really huge for the last few years. Now it's starting to come back in again.
Right.
So there's different, now we've had because we've had the oversized tops, we've had really skinny bottoms.
Right.
What's happening now, as the tops are getting smaller again, the bottoms are getting wider.
Okay.
So it's this kind of morphing in the fashion world and what our eye is used to.
Yeah.
And so we will continue to change, which is why we don't look the same. And some of those clothes, of course, we had have worn out from 5 years ago, or they don't support our lifestyle today. They don't work with us today.
Yeah.
But there will definitely be something where, I know with Jill, when I look at you, there's always a lot of colour. That's something that, that may be the constant. And we may always have leopard print.
Yes.
But we've got dresses now. We've got other things about your style which are different.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think when you're thinking about what is my unique style and how do I develop my unique style, it's maybe take a photo of all your favourite outfits wearing them, because I think it's much easier to see it when it's on you.
Yeah.
Or even if you've got, go through your photo albums and look at all those outfits that were favourites and see, can you find something in them? Like if you analyse them, if you break them down, can you find something in them that you go, that's the thing that I keep doing that I really like doing?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's about that, going, I always wear a necklace, or I always wear a brooch, or I like a scarf, or I like, whatever it might be. There'll be things when you start to break down your style in a more analytical way, you'll actually start to pick up what are the threads that go through everything.
Yes. And adding to that, I like hearing about the fashion trends because I never know what they are. I have to read your blog to find out what they are because I don't go shopping in mainstream stores. I find them very uninspiring and there's a whole other suite of issues that go with that. So I read your blog and I find out what the fashion trends are and I go, oh, isn't that interesting? My shopping, when I do it, tends to happen more in consignment stores. I love op shopping. I love that sort of treasure hunting kind of thing. And my journey, to add to what you're saying, because all of that is incredibly relevant, is about more of a personal morphing, more of a where am I being led now? What are the kinds of things that are taking me in a new direction? So it's not so much a fashion trend, here's a bit of external fashion trend data that's influencing me. It's more of an inner feeling kind of thing that I'm being led in a different direction. And the balance for me and others like me who can shop too much is you start to over accumulate in a new area, and that's where the go slow, try things, a bit of op shopping or consignment shopping. I'm not too big on cheap discount stores for a variety of reasons, but just starting small. So if you're going to bring a colour trend in, do it with something small like a necklace rather than I'm going to buy a red suede overcoat. That's a statement investment piece. That's a different kind of financial investment than something small. So I think it's okay to think about the external things like that and to think about morphing that is prompted by something else, like it is for me.
And this is where often too is we do change as people, and that the style that was our style may not be us anymore. So sometimes we can have held on to something because it's got an emotional favoritism, but when you put it on again, you go, actually it's not me anymore.
Yes.
And that can also help you to go, I need to release that.
Yes.
Or it's still great. Who knows? And I think one of the things that can be really useful, if you're struggling to even kind of work out what your style is, or maybe you have no photos. I mean, I spent years never taking photos of myself, so I have very little history of photos to look back at. But, you could look at, say, all the stylish thoughts blog posts that have been written that are on the blog, and actually where you look at them and you go, I really like her style. Maybe create a Pinterest board, pin a whole lot of images of things that visually appeal to you, and then when you've got a bunch of 20 or 30 images, you can actually start to look at them going, is there a theme there? Is there something in common? What's that commonality that I'm seeing? And and you might, if it was you might go, oh, I keep pinning people who are wearing lots of colours versus people who wear neutrals, or it might, there'll be something about it that you'll start to then go, oh, okay, I really like this aspect, and maybe that's part of your unique style that you need to bring in. So you can use other people as inspiration, and what they're putting together, but you always need to do it for you, rather than just directly copy someone. And I think that's something to be very careful about because it's about unique style.
Exactly. And when we borrow somebody else's style, it's never going to be authentic. It's never going to feel like us because we've taken it from somebody else. And there is a difference between copying a look entirely and being inspired. And street style is one of the wonderful things for me to get inspired by. And sometimes it's just a feeling that's created when you look at what somebody's done. And there's absolutely nothing in the construction of how she's done it that I would want to copy. It's great on her, not for me. And so we can get inspiration from multiple ways, I think.
So there's lots of ways you can think about defining your style and discovering your style, but also understanding it's going to keep changing through your life. So it is something that you have to keep evolving, you have to keep looking, it's not going to kind of stay set forever.
Yeah, and it's a contact sport. You cannot identify your own unique style just in your head or just on paper. It is a doing activity. Because it's one thing to think something could be your unique style, and you start trying it out and something about it doesn't work. You just have to do it. You have to, I talk about getting in the water. You don't learn to swim by reading a book, you learn to swim by getting in the pool.
So you have to try things on, but at least it might give you, if you're looking at pictures or you're looking at things, to give you an idea of where you want to try, where you want to start, what inspires you. And I think I would love to know what inspires you and what you feel your unique style is, because there is unique style, the signature style, there's personality style, there's all these sorts of elements, and they all really wrap around each other. But we'd love to know what you feel are the elements that kind of go to creating your style, and I'd love to know how you found out what it was, because I think that's really fascinating. How did you figure out your style? And so what's the process you've been through?
And what are you still figuring out about your unique style?
Yes.